Welcome back to the afternoon session here on the opening day of Birmingham 2022. You're very welcome back to Lee Valley Velo Park, where we've got a whole bunch of medals that are about to rain down on us. Every single event this afternoon will produce a gold, a silver and a bronze medal as the first of the gongs are distributed in front of a near capacity crowd. Looking forward to this.
This pairing have only been together since February, and on their 5th track session they were able to go faster than the automatic qualifying time to make it here to Birmingham. First position, bottom of the track, Scotland, putting a little bit of pressure on though. Aileen McGlynn and her pilot Ellie Stone. The benefit of having an experienced pilot like Caitlin, she's been a part of the national program up until 2020. So very experienced, really trying to force the Scottish team to have to go all the way up around the outside. This is a real drag race between the two. Scotland almost over the top though of Australia. Gallagher and Ward doing a really good job of holding off the Scottish. With 1 lap to go now, advantage absolutely towards Australia. Scotland needed to get over the top of Australia to have any chance, but the experience and the strength of the Australians doing enough to hold them off. They'll go 1 up in the best of 3, and a good tactical battle between them, almost 62 kilometres per hour. But that was such a long and tough sprint.
It was very tight there. You know, that strategy, that tactic, pushing the Scots up high, making them work for it, commanding the track really, and they'll be happy with the result over that, how tight that was.
And a little bit of a flick there as well from Caitlin, just to remind the Scottish that if you're going to have to earn this one, if you're going to get over the top of us. So that was a great ride from Jess Gallagher and Caitlin Ward. 1 up, and that's a hand on the gold medal. One more race like that, and it'll be gold all the way for the Australian pairing. So great ride so far. She was the first Australian woman to medal in the Winter Paralympics as well. That was in Torino 2010 with a bronze medal. Also in Sochi 2014. Athletics world champion in 2011 in the long jump, silver, and the javelin she was bronze, and making a transition into rowing as well. She can do it all, Jess Gallagher. Now it's trying to win gold here with Caitlin Ward as her pilot. Aileen McGlynn being piloted by Ellie Stone from Scotland in front. 2 laps to go now. Is it 2 laps to a gold medal for the Australians? And starting to move up now, trying to get underneath. Oh, and really tight there. Caitlin Ward almost hitting the back wheel of the Scottish team. They had to backpedal to get themselves out. It's going to be really tough now with 1 lap to go to get the speed going again to come around the outside. Ward and Gallagher, do they have the power? It's the long way around the outside, and they did have to stop to get going again, but
very close.
Too strong, too fast, too powerful. Gold to Australia. Jess Gallagher being piloted by Caitlin Ward. That was a little bit sketchy, a little bit scary, but they got there.
It was, but you know, they had the engine pumping. They had enough steam in there and brought it back around the outside and got it done. They'll be absolutely pumped with that. That was a really tough race.
The coaches, the athletes, pumping the air with jubilation. That was hit and miss. The amount of skill it took for Caitlin Ward to back out of that dangerous situation just shows how experienced she is. This pairing have only been together since February. Look at this. They are going 55 kilometres per hour, and Caitlin Ward manages to not clip that wheel. That is one of the best displays of skills we will see this week. Remarkable. She looks like she's catching flies with that mouth open, breathing hard, gasping for air. But there is no way Caitlin Ward was letting that go after that small error getting caught underneath. Just such a good ride. Jess Gallagher, she knew they'd gotten it before the line. Arms in the air. They're like warming the crowd up. They're getting them all excited before the next Aussies come out on track to take another gold medal, we hope, guys. But what a way to open the account at the Lee Valley Velo Park for the Australian team.
They did give us a bit of a scare, though, in the second ride for the gold medal. 2 straight in the best of 3, but almost clipping the wheel of their opponents. Having the skills to back out and the power to then accelerate again, to come around the outside to get the victory. Jess Gallagher and Caitlin Ward, fantastic result. Men's Tandem B 1,000 metre time trial up next, and we have Bo Wooten riding with Luke Zachariah, 4th team to come out. And Neil Farchi is really a mega star of paracycling, world record and a games record, and possibly looking to go 3 straight. He's won the last 2 editions of the 1,000 metre at the Commonwealth Games. Trying to get a 3-peat this time. Certainly a favourite to do so. Let's see who might be able to get the better of him. Australia underway. Bo Wooten, time to beat 103. Can they do it? Very powerful effort there from Luke Zachariah, the Western Australian, really putting the pressure through the pedals and combining very well. Wooten and Zachariah, they're on their way and almost 1 second up after half a lap. That's an incredibly fast start. Now 1.2 seconds after 250 metres. Great start for the Aussies.
Yeah, very much. I saw the coach lean in there and give them a good clap there. Must be following their strategy really well again.
1.5 seconds now, so it's eased slightly. Fantastic start from the Australians. They may get right down towards that Commonwealth Games record, which is 1 minute flat. And with 1 lap to go, 1.3 seconds, it's going to be close to the 1 minute mark, but definitely a faster time than we saw from the Welsh team. Alex Pope watching on the inside. How much more can the Australians do? Can they bring this one home? 103.9 to beat. They are going to beat it. Fastest time for Australia, 102.824. 1 second faster than the Welsh team. Great ride by the Aussies, Bo Wooten and Luke Zachariah. Trying to make history here, Neil Farchi, the Tokyo Paralympic gold medalist, world champion in 2020 as well, and a new pilot, Lewis Stewart. Can they get the combination right? Slightly down, but only 1/10 of a second. We'll get a good indication now as they're really trying to get themselves up to top speed. 0.2 of a second now. This could be an upset, trying to make history. But it might be an upset. James Ball would be smiling on the inside of the track when he hears that they are 0.2 of a second down as they're approaching the halfway mark.
Well, there's quite an obvious size differential between these pair, making them very aerodynamic. They're coming closer. This gap is coming down. A rivalry indeed. Can they get there? It's closer again inside the final lap, less than a 1/10 apart.
They are tiptoeing towards the lead. They have now gone into the lead around the final bend. Neil Farchi looking to make history and go 3 in a row, and he does it with a new games record. It had to be a record if they were going to get the gold, and that's what they have done. Neil Farchi along with Lewis Stewart. It's a new combination, and it's a winning combination. You cannot beat the greatness of Neil Farchi. 3 gold medals in a row.
What a thriller of a competition. That is fantastic from the Scotsman. Just sensational riding. I think that our reality concept is looking even stronger now. Maybe we've just seen the answer as to why those teams did swap out the riders. It certainly seems to be working for Neil Farchi. That's 4 on the trot and a games record to boot.
Sharing the love.
Whoever
gets to ride with Neil gets to win a gold. That's the way it works. I think it's rock, paper, scissors. Who wants to ride with Neil? What a great performance that was. Sensational performance from Neil Farchi. He really is a superstar in this discipline, and a great combination there with Lewis Stewart. So gold medal goes to Scotland. Was there ever any doubts? Australia unfortunately just missing out Bo Wooten, but he's a young man, 23 years of age, so a big future for the Aussie. 4th place for him. But Great start for Australia so far. Jess Gallagher getting the gold medal, combining so well with Caitlin Ward, and I am still shaking. The race for the gold medal in the women's team pursuit. Georgia Baker, Sophie Edwards, Chloe Moran and Maeve Plouffe. Up against New Zealand. And the fastest time, the Commonwealth record, 4:14.6 for the Australians. Elise Andrews coming in from the sprint program because of Ali Wollaston crashing last week in the Women's Tour de France and fracturing her wrist. So really unfortunate for the New Zealanders. They were able to ride 4:18, but 4 seconds slower than the Australians. This is the race for the gold medal. Australia versus New Zealand. Australia the favourites. Chloe Moran getting them underway. Sophie Edwards will be the next rider to go. And then it's Maeve Plouffe in third position and Georgia Baker. And already some problems for New Zealand. So this is Elise Andrews. We saw this in the qualifying as well. She's only coming to the start line just to give them 4 riders to get going. Such a challenge to lose a rider, such an integral part of the team, only a couple of days out from the competition. So New Zealand down to 3. It's a big ask to try and be competitive against the Australian quartet.
And it's not just about the 3 versus 4 riders when you talk about horsepower and how many horses to draw that carriage. But we're also, when they train usually with the 4 riders, and their swings and their technique on the track very often matches a team of 4, not a team of 3.
On target, I think, maybe to even get right up towards the back of the New Zealand team by the end of this race. So the Aussies are absolutely flying at the moment. Set the game's record in qualifying. They're on target to break that again here in the final, racing for gold.
A young team, but led by Georgia Baker, the 27-year-old from Tasmania. She's out there riding for her father, Patrick, who passed away in 2015. But he was the inspiration behind every pedal stroke she has taken since. This would mean a lot for her mum, Dern, and her sister, Phoebe, who will be biting their fingernails off.
And really doing an incredible turn of pace. 3.5 seconds, the better of New Zealand now.
Georgia Baker comes through to take up the speed. Chloe Moran sitting in second wheel. Maeve Plouffe now sitting in third. Georgia Baker will do a long turn here and get them as close to the New Zealand team as possible. Chloe Moran the next, and then it will be up to Maeve Plouffe. How close can she pull that team? They're not too far off, only a lap to go, Scott. This time is blistering.
4.5 seconds faster than New Zealand. It's going to be a gold medal to the Australians. Fantastic performance. It's a new look outfit. Young riders coming into the program as well. Is it going to be a Commonwealth Games record? They broke it in qualifying and they have smashed it here in the final. 4:12.2, a new Games record and a gold medal going to Australia. That was a commanding performance.
United, they conquer, divided they fall, but that was the most united performance we've seen from an Australian women's team's pursuit in a number of years, Scott. What an incredible outfit. We have seen just an incredible performance out there tonight.
Champions, Australia, Georgia Baker, Sophie Edwards.
Fantastic ride, that's for sure. New Commonwealth Games record in qualifying. They lowered that by another couple of seconds to 4:12 in the final. The race for gold, and a fantastic performance. Georgia Baker on the left. There's Chloe Moran next to her. Great start for the Australian team across all of the sports, but particularly here at the Velodrome. Wales lining up against Australia. This is the race for the bronze medal in the men's team pursuit. The Aussies hopefully inspired by witnessing their colleagues win the gold medal in the women's competition. They're not racing for gold themselves, but they have some pride on the line. And it's Australia versus Wales. The winner of this come away with bronze. Pressure on the face of Josh Duffy. He's the man charged with getting them underway. Clean start from both teams. Wales in the back straight. Australia. Good time in qualifying from the Australians. It's a lot of new faces in there. Luke Plapp is the only rider that was around last year at the Tokyo Olympic Games. So a lot of fresh faces, and it's a rebuilding phase. And I did speak to the national coach, Brett Aitken, just over the last couple of days, my former teammate and colleague. And he was a little bit nervous about how all these young, fresh riders would go, but they have really held themselves quite high.
They certainly have. The Australian team, they have such a long, rich history in the team's pursuit, but that goes through phases, and sometimes with the spate of retirements, they do need to rebuild. That's what we're looking at here. The 4 young faces, James Moriarty as well. And these lads have done an exceptional job of regrouping with limited resources. Inside that you mentioned, Scott, he looks comfortable with their pace. He's encouraging them, but he's not yet telling them they need to bring a lot more. Their pace is on point.
Wales with a little bit of work to do now to keep themselves in the hunt for the bronze medal. 1.2 seconds down. Reece Britton, Joe Holt, William Roberts and Josh Tarling. The Australians are riding faster, down to 3 riders now, but they are riding faster than they did in qualifying. .8 seconds now, the difference between Australia and Wales. Down to 3 riders, both teams now. This is where it gets a little bit challenging. Only 1 lap to go. Time taken on the 3rd rider, and the gap blowing out to 3 seconds. It is going to be a bronze medal for the Australians as they go down the back straight. Can they go faster than they did in qualifying? That's all about a bit of pride, just really putting it to everybody else, and they have indeed. 3:50.4. That's the fastest time this combination have set. So they're going in the right direction. It will be a bronze medal for Australia over Wales. And with a young team that we see out on the track here, there's Luke Plapp, who's riding for the Ineos professional team as well. He's the most experienced of this group. He was the 5th rider in the team program last year and come in to this very young squad. Brett Aitken, the national coach, would be very chuffed with that. Bronze to Australia. That was a solid ride.
Australia.
Well, it's a bronze medal here. They would have hoped perhaps for better, but they have done a great job. I think they really have hit the mark. For a young team, the budget was really cut after the Tokyo Olympic Games, so they've had to scramble a little bit and think outside the box to get this group together to ride so well. And they certainly did come away and do a great job getting the bronze. Josh Duffy, Connor Lay, James Moriarty rode the qualifying. Graham Frisley, the shortest of the group there, came in for the final. And down the far left, it's Luke Plapp. New Zealand, England and the young Australians on the podium. Future is set, and there's a possibility of riders like Sam Welsford, Kellen O'Brien coming back into the program over the next couple of years as well for the Aussies. But we're on to the big race. Next up is Australia racing against England. It's for gold. And the Australians absolutely the favourites. 42.222 in qualifying. Comfortably faster than England. There's Matthew Glaetzer. Cancer scare, came back from that, went on to the Tokyo Olympic Games. Not quite happy with how straight the bike is. There's Matthew Richardson in 2nd position. Lee Hoffman is the starter. They combined so well in qualifying, Kate. They are the favourites, but they will be nervous. They have to get it right.
Well, the English team are no slouches, that is for sure. The Australians just dominant, over a second advantage in the qualifying.
And it's the trio from Australia trying to get that 3rd gold medal for Australia. England will be doing everything they can to try and stop the Aussies from claiming gold. So strong in qualifying. Hoffman very fast indeed. They are in front by 1/10 of a second, and as Lee Hoffman comes through, it's gone out to 2/10 of a second now. Matthew Richardson powering around the track.
This is an incredible ride by the Australians, dominant in the qualifying, but it is Gleitzer the Glorious as he comes through, anchoring this final lap. Matthew Gleitzer turns to gold.
0.8 of a second, gone over 1 second now. Matthew Gleitzer coming around. It is going to be gold for Australia, the third on the first night of competition. A new games record, over 64 kilometres per hour from a standing start, over 750 metres. That is amazing. Matty Gleitzer, that's another gold medal for you, buddy. Great performance.
Commonwealth Games champions.
And that target will be on the back of a few of these Australians. Lee Hoffman on the right, Matthew Richardson in the middle, and Matthew Gleitzer on the left. Fantastic ride by these riders. Com Games record in qualifying, and then they lowered that by another 0.2 of a second, 42.04 seconds for 3 laps of the track. Fastest first lap of the competition for Lee Hoffman. It was the fastest second lap by Matty Richardson, and then Matt Gleitzer bringing it home with the fastest third lap of the entire competition as well, combining perfectly to come away with gold for Australia.